up a tough shot. Bounces around. Goes in at the buzzer. Working it down to 2-1. A deep three. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We robbing underdog and prize picks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Boogie setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like rats to the cheese. But I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the bros. Only with pride, never reload. Underrated to my amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, it can't be good for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks, population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now, let the games begin.
Unbelievable. Just perfect. He did it.
It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
All right, we are live and just wrapping up the slate from tonight to the Tuesday slate. How you doing, E?
Doing really well, man. Today, I feel like went pretty awesome for all of us in the Discord, and even with some injury news left and right, I feel like we weathered the storm and came out quite ahead. How you doing today or tonight?
Yeah, good, man. Our team plays, all of our core plays went really well. You see from our list from today, went 9 of 10. Took a stab on Cat's first half fantasy early in the day when Ant-Man was a midday downgrade to questionable, hoping that he would sit prime spot for him against the Blazers. And Ant-Man decides to play and decides to go off for 20-plus points in the first half, and Cat decides to pick up 3 early fouls with 2 charges. But can't complain, only missed there. All the other plays that we were on hit. And then the plays that we talked about last night on our stream came through. We said look out for Claxton's dunks if Porzingis is out. And luckily, they gave us his dunk back at 1.5, not at the 2 flat. And once we got the Porzingis news, we jumped on that. And yeah, a lot of other things were pretty straightforward based on matchup with Fox, having great history against the Suns. And yeah, it was a good night overall. Even our first quarter props hit. And then we had a fliff play with Booker's assist. So you have access to all of this with notes on the pros and cons of each play that we come up with in our Discord. So you can find the link in the description of the YouTube. So definitely join us. It's a solid team. Everyone contributes. And we come up with these plays together. So, all right, E, we got a massive slate, a lot of injury news. So we're not going to probably get a lot of props tonight because of the pending injury news. But pretty much almost every team plays, and a majority of the teams are going to be on a back-to-back because they played today. There's 2 teams on the front end that play on Thursday as well. And I think that's Memphis and who's the other one? Utah?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Memphis and Utah are on a front end. They both play on Thursday. And then a lot of these other teams are on a back end of a back-to-back. But let's start with one of the first games. We got 3 games starting the normal time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's start with the Hawks Hornets. Major news here. We got Okongwu out. So now you have both Clint Capella and Okongwu out. So they're going to have to resort to Bruno Fernando to pick up some minutes here. They'll probably run Jalen at the 5 a lot whenever Nick Richards is not out there. So I looked at the on-off court stats. There's not much data with both Okongwu and Clint off the court, but when they are off the court, Jalen Johnson's rebound percentage leads by far. He's at almost 18% rebound percentage, and everyone else is around 9%, like Sadiq Bey, DeJounte, and others. So unfortunately, we don't have his props. They're holding out on him. I think he's 9.5 rebounds in the books with juice on the over. With that rebound percentage and this pace, I think 9.5 you can still definitely consider. These are two top 5 in pace teams, so there's going to be a lot of shots going up, and these teams also brick a lot too. So this should be rebound galore. These teams also take a lot of threes, so I mean, you could definitely consider Sadiq or Dejounte for the rebounding potential here. One thing before I hand it off to you that I want to talk about was Trey Mann. They really like him. He's played a big role. They traded for him, right? So they didn't trade for really much draft stock or anything. They just traded for him. They liked him. He's picking up more minutes. The only thing is they still resort to Cody. I wish Cody Martin would just go away because if you see Trey Mann last game, he played really well. But then he ended up not closing. So he checked out midway through the fourth, and they went with Cody Martin to close in a very close competitive game where they ended up beating the Pacers. But Trey Mann was he was just filling up the stat line. I think he had 5 rebounds, 5 assists by start of the second quarter or halfway through the second. So he's been really getting it done for him. Definitely eating to the usage of Brandon Miller and Cody Martin. I think his assist is at 7.5, which is kind of steep, but I mean, Atlanta bleeds assist. The rebounds are tempting though, because he's crashing the glass hard. He's even getting offensive rebounds, and just due to the sheer pace of this game, and Okongwu being out and Clint being out, I think the guards and forwards should have plethora of rebounds here. So I don't mind it. I think his RA is pretty high though at 10.5. But again, Atlanta, all season we have attacked him for assists, and I don't trust Trey for scoring. He'll hit 1 or 2 threes here and there, but his playmaking, I mean, he is dominating potentials lately. So you can even go with the RA, but I feel like the 4.5 rebounds is a much lower sweat. What are your thoughts on this game so far?
Yeah, honestly, I dislike Charlotte quite a bit earlier on in the season, but with this new kind of transformation this team has taken on, it's actually pretty nice. I mean, you have both of Mann and is it Mikic, the backup that they also picked up from the Thunder? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Micic, yeah, the EuroLeague
Yeah.
goat.
Yeah, Micic. Those two are pretty interesting with this team, and they also picked up Grant Williams, and he was somebody who kind of flew under the radar last game, and he's basically just taken on that PJ Washington role off the bench. He's that spark plug, that 3-and-D, catch a couple rebounds. This is going to be a really good game. We have the number 3 and the number 5 most assists allowed. So 2 top 5 teams for that. You mentioned the pace, points allowed, and those sweet 3-pointers. There's going to be so many threes going on in this game.
Number 2 and 3. I'm glad you brought that up. I almost forgot. The number 2 and the number 3 team in terms of highest 3-point percentage allowed. Yep.
Yeah. So, this could be kind of setting up for a spot for Brandon Miller to have a bounce back game. But I will say, just looking at the previous 2 games, as you mentioned, he has definitely taken a hit in that usage. This last game, he actually dropped pretty far down. He dropped to 15.5% usage. So, somebody who was averaging after the trade, he was averaging somewhere around the mid 20s at least. And he's taking a step back maybe for the new guys, but it's going to be a good game. I have a lot of interest in this. You mentioned the rebounds, the RA, and I see that Cody Martin is also a Q tag for tomorrow. I really hope he sits because
Oh,
that guy's awful.
oh, that changes thing. I didn't see that. If oh my gosh, please set because that would just open the door for Trey. Because
Yeah,
yeah, that's a big reason Trey's not getting full minutes here. I mean, he's still playing 30, still played 33 minutes last game, but if I take a full game prop, I want to see I want a guy that's going to close. I know it's going to be out there for majority of the fourth. So if Cody's out, we that would be a massive boost to Trey's minutes and overall production. So yeah, I mean I was wrong. His sister actually, I was looking at the Demon prop at 7.5. He's actually 5.5 on the books, minus 140 on the over right now. So once they drop it, it'll be 6 flat. But then if Cody Martin's ruled out, it'll probably bump up to even 7. But yeah, the RA, that's tempting now. Yeah, I mean he had against Indy 9 rebounds, and yeah, he's active on the offensive glass as well. So yeah,
yeah,
I
I like him.
definitely take a stab at that or the RA for sure.
Yeah, and another, they keep kind of going back and forth between Miles Bridges, but if you look on the rotations, he's playing that entire first quarter still. Like he's their anchor. They move him basically around the 4 and the 5, but he's also still one of their kind of like top 2, top 3 playmakers in the assist
Hmm.
potentials. He's
Hmm.
shooting the three. He's grabbing rebounds. His lines are probably a little bit more appropriate, but I would keep an eye out for that first quarter points. He's taking some shots there. Um, yeah, there's gonna be a lot from this game, honestly. I could easily see Trey Young walking away with a good 10 assists, double double line here. Uh, I'm really curious to see, what that starting five is confirmed to look like on both sides, and let's hope that Nick Richards can go out and do something too, because they've been leaving his first half points really low. Like they've been, I think, like 5.5 last couple games, and we've seen a lot of these teams, when we get that fresh injury, especially to the center position, teams like to test the water early with that. And old Nick Richards, he'll run up and yam it a couple times. So we'll keep an eye out for some of those props tomorrow. Now, I'm super excited about this game. I'm hoping Charlotte shows up and we can get most of a good 3 quarters, 4 quarters.
Yeah, I'll say it. It being in Charlotte definitely helps, right? Like we know Atlanta, their home road splits is pretty massive. They play much better at home. Definitely boosts to Charlotte being 7 point underdogs here to be at home. That we can hopefully get a full game here. Um, and and guys like especially guys like Trey Mann, even if Cody Martin plays, and even Miles Bridges, like this is like their last time to prove something before the starters come back, like Lamelo Ball after All Star break, right? Like this is their last opportunity to be the lone guys out there and to shine. So you couldn't ask for a better game environment. We just got to nail the right props, and we got to have the game stay close to the end, not have it go completely sideways. Because both these teams rely on the 3 ball. So if one of them is hot from 3 and the other one's not, it could go definitely go in one direction pretty easily. I mean, Jalen Johnson is definitely point of interest here, but since we don't have, oh wait, now we have him. Okay, so put him on the board. His first half PRA is 14.5. I think he's normally around that. Okay, so they just didn't give us his rebounds. Did they give us his RA? 13. Okay. Um, between him and Sadiq, if you could rank them for the first half PRA potential, how would you do it? Let's say that Bruno does start.
Probably just on value, Sadiq right now. They have been bumping him, so I do think that was he 11 or 11 and a half. he's definitely going to bump because they've been pretty active about him. But I think him just because of the 3 point upside, he could fall into those rebounds pretty easily. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see both him and Jalen kind of be that 1-2 punch for the stand-in four. Because they'll go for whenever Bruno goes off, they'll slide Jalen over, and usually they'll slide Sadiq and kind of like funnel everybody back down like that. So I'm hoping, best case scenario here, Bruno picks up 2 fouls early in that first quarter, and then we're just going to rock out with Jalen and Sadiq at the 5 and the 4, and that definitely makes me like it even better. But I think the 3 point upside's got to be the thing that tips my hat a little bit towards him.
I agree. If Jalen starts at the 5, and Bruno's still going to play 15 minutes off the bench, I think that the stock upside and just whenever guy moves to the 5, like the fantasy points per minute just takes a huge boost. So I think
Mm-hmm.
Jalen's fantasy should definitely be in consideration depending on what they put it at. But yeah,
For
he'll
sure.
take a massive boost if he's starting at the 5 with all that stock potential. DeAndre Hunter. So they keep putting his lines really low. His minutes are starting to ramp up now too. Last game they had him at 10.5 points full game, and they keep putting him at 1.5 3 point made, and he's been clearing that easily. I doubt in this matchup and how he's been crushing that we get that 3 point prop again. We'll see. Something to look out for. I've been playing it and they've been dropping it. I wonder what they put his points at now that he's playing more minutes and they're shorthanded. But this is a great spot for him too. Um, the Hornets don't guard wings well, and they leave the 3 ball open on the wing, and that's a specialty. So we have he's not in the books right now, but I imagine they put him at they probably bump him from that 10.5 to maybe 12.5. But definitely something to keep an eye out for. And when he comes in with that second unit, now that they're so shorthanded, it's just really him and Bogdan running the show. So he's got a lot of usage in that with that second unit. I think he had
Yep.
13 points in the first half last game. So and he's chucking threes.
Yeah, the coach is giving him a green light to just go out and be that spark plug with Bogdan off the bench. So I like it, especially if they're not going to adjust his lines adequately.
Yep. And then I guess before we move on, you liked Miles Bridges' first quarter. Is there any other Charlotte props besides like Trey Man's rebound or RA that we like?
At a first glance, not quite so much because I do want to have some just caution on the off chance. Say like Cody Martin sits, what's that trickle down effect kind of look like? Who's actually going to start for him? Because and then kind of going back to we were talking about the Sadiq and Jalen debate here. So in my mind, I'm thinking arguably Charlotte's best defender right now is probably Miles Bridges, and he should be covering Jalen. So currently, we got Cody Martin should be covering Bay here, and whoever that next up person is, say if he's out or whatever, I think I'd still probably feel a little better in the dark about that particular matchup.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, if Cody Martin's out, what I would do with how well he looked and played last game, I would just slide Seth Curry in at the 2 guard. Seth
Yeah.
was on fire. Played well last game. He only played 18 minutes, but he dropped 18 points. It would just make sense to have Trey be the true sole point guard and have Seth be the true 2 guard. Um, so if that's the case, then that opens up a lot of assist potentials for Trey Man and Miles Bridges, which both of them are leading in assist potentials for the team so far. So at 10 and 9 potentials. But we shall see. Maybe they start Grant Williams since he's playing well, or they want to use him as a bench spark plug, which is weird to say for Grant Williams.
It's so weird.
And then yeah, Trey. Why are his points so low against the Hornets? That's what I don't understand.
Which Trey Young?
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know he hasn't been the greatest, but so Chicago, I mean, last game, pretty favorable matchup. They were at home and got embarrassed especially in that fourth quarter. That was really bad. Um, and then Houston, the game before that, pretty tough matchup. But I mean, this is a good bounce back spot. I would definitely roll the dice on that, or even, yeah, that for the full game. And honestly, I mean, it's almost worth just playing the full game outright. Because like they have his Goblin at 19 and a half. So what, you need 4 more points? Like that seems like an easy go there. We didn't get a demon for him, did we? 29. All right, that's a little bit of a stretch.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I always hate choosing between him and Dejounte for both their playmaking and scoring. So, but I mean, 23 and a half is pretty low. But it is Trey Young on the road. Okay. Next stopping ground here. What did they give us? They gave us Cavs Bulls. Bulls are running the slowest pace. Cavs slow as well. It should be snail pace game. I'll say Bulls bleed threes. Donovan's been on a heater if you want to take a stab at his 3-point prop. But again, it's just the shot volume, the amount of shots going up in this game is going to be really low. It's going to be a very slow game. But he's been crushing his first quarter too. So look out for his first quarter. I imagine it's going to be up to 7.5 now. But he's been absolutely destroying that. So his usage in the first quarter is crazy high. And then you can even consider his first half. But that first quarter, yeah, he's definitely chucking. Any interest in this game?
I do, but for me, I really want to put some caution out there. This is a very, very similar front court matchup that they just played, or Chicago just played against Minnesota. I want to think about if Drummond is going to start because that
I think he
completely
will.
changes. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, for sure,
Um,
for sure. With Mobley and Jarrett, yeah, they'll definitely start Drummond and Vooch alongside each other.
Yeah, because initially, I was looking at Mobley again, like, ooh, that first half still super low, and I mean it is, and I can see him getting over it, but it's definitely something to think about because this team looks totally different whenever Drummond starts. It really messes up a lot of stuff, and they have a couple Q tags. Let's see, Caruso's questionable, Craig and Dalen Terry as well, so they could be thin
Yeah.
at guards.
Caruso, I feel like he's questionable every game, but yeah.
Yeah. But this is one. I mean, it's the second lowest total on the slate, so you don't have to get crazy with it. And I think after that horrible ending, no call that Cleveland lost this last game out. Like you said, Donovan could come out and just be on a mission, and especially so if we get that front court matchup, Donovan first half something. I'm totally with that. Or if they don't adjust those first quarter points, like we can go right back to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's at 18 and a half right now. It's definitely doable, but it's just the pace. He might just not get there due to the sheer lack of shots, and low shot volume overall. With Drummond starting, I mean, how do you feel about Vooch under rebound or RA?
I love it, dude. It was such a free play last time when we were thinking about it. I think he was 13.5, and I mean anything around that, he was
NFL?
not getting rebounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 8, and
Yeah.
yeah, tough,
I
tough.
mean, if you want that, I would get it now because once the starting lineup is confirmed, I'm sure they're gonna bump it down even more. But it looks like they're kind of baking it into the current lines because he's down to 9.5. But that could also just be to the matchup against Cleveland. Um, it's not the best rebounding spot here, so maybe it's partially that or a combination. But yeah, I have to look into his assist rating, how much it changed with Drummond out there. But if you want to debate between his rebound under or his RA under.
Yeah, and just for a little context too, that Minnesota game did go to overtime, so he still fell that far short with overtime.
Yep, yep. Okay. Was there anything else for that one?
Um, there's really going to be just so much. It's going to be a buffet tomorrow. I think like just really pay attention to the injury news. There's a lot of teams on a back to back and a lot of potential moving parts. So we'll dissect it up really nice, and I'm actually excited. All-Star break's coming up. That'll give us a little bit of a break, and we got baseball right around the corner too, and NBA is not too far from that. So get ready. It's about to get crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about the Indy Toronto real quick. I think we got Siakam revenge game, first time playing him, and on top of that, Halliburton is questionable. I imagine he plays since this is last game before the All Star break, and they have that entire time off. So, but if for any reason he's out, that's even more boost to Siakam here. Another key person questionable in this game, for personal reasons, is RJ Barrett for Toronto. So that's going to be a boost to Scotty Barnes for sure. And let's talk about Scotty real quick. He's been crushing the assists lately, and dominating assist potential, and something we were on last game. He got it done quick too, even in a blowout. Um, yeah, he had 15 potentials. He only played 30 minutes. Scotty would normally play 38 plus minutes. So is a 7.5 too rich in your mind, or is it right there on the dot with this pace up spot against Indy and potentially RJ being out?
Yeah, RJ being out would help a little bit more. It's so funny, when we think about Indiana and how bad they've been in the past, and honestly, the first half of the season, looking really into those metrics, they're actually kind of crushing it on defense now. They're
Yeah.
limiting 3 pointers, they're limiting the assist. I think they're let me look real fast. I think they're actually like bottom in assists allowed now. Yeah, they're bottom 5. So they went from top 2, and we just hammered all season. Now they're bottom 5 in assists and bottom bottom in 3 pointers. Like the high conversion stuff is really really tough for them. Um, I like Scotty just for that sheer volume that he's had. I mean, last game he had 15 and a half potentials, so we're getting a good kind of 2-to-1 ratio. I will say Kelly O starting or now playing actual minutes, he really took an impact. He was second in potentials, but if Barrett ends up being out, just make sure that Kelly is not starting, anything crazy. But I could see Scotty getting, it's gonna be right there on the line. I definitely don't want to tout for it. If you're gonna take Scotty, it might just be better to take his Goblin if they give us one. I don't know if he still has one up today or yet, but it's not a bad play. But just there is some caution there.
Yeah, no alt lines. Yeah, they already juiced his points up. He's normally 20.5. They already have it at opening at 22.5 due to the pace up against Indy. The game total being what it is at 243, which I believe is the highest total on the slate. Yep, the highest total on the slate. and the possibility that RJ is out. So it looks like they already baked that into the lines, having him at 22.5. I would say maybe the PA is something to consider, especially only if RJ's out, because he's going to have to get it done scoring if RJ's
Yeah.
out, and a playmaking. And I think right now he's currently 30.5 in the other books, so a little slight discount, probably bump up to 30.5 for sure if RJ's out. And then what about spinning Siakam here? Revenge game. And it's back in Toronto too. First time playing him. Or trust him.
If Halliburton's out, I definitely would take a stab at, his PA is kind of low already, but if we get Hallie out, I definitely every team has had a welcome home game for their guys, so I don't think this is going to be any different. They're probably going to do, because he left on good terms. It's not like he didn't choose to leave; they freaking traded him. So I bet he gets the standard welcome home. We've seen every single person under the sun, from Katie to Beal to insert whatever name. Like all these dudes have gone off, and it's kind of because he didn't get All Star selection either, did he?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so maybe a little nudge in that direction, and if Halliburton's out, he's just gonna have all kinds of usage.
Yeah, I noticed what's been killing him lately, especially in the first half, is Miles Turner. Like Miles Turner's like usage has been crazy, and like he's just taken so many shots. But I think maybe they work Siakam here a little bit more. And yeah, I think the assist is definitely live at 3.5 if Hallie's out, but we have no idea. But if you want to play the welcome home revenge game narrative, it's a good spot. I mean, Toronto defense has been vulnerable since this new configuration and new units. So we saw what the Spurs just did to them, right? Just completely dismantled them and blew them out. And the Spurs had a stock party too. So maybe his fantasy, look out for that. You could definitely rack up some stocks here because we know what Wemba just did, but that's Wemba. Um,
Well,
and then
actually, real fast, since you brought that up, keep an eye out for Pirtle, his first half fantasy tomorrow, because he's been, he's coming back still, but he's been kind of up and down in that first half, and I totally could see him having a block party on Turner. He could get into foul trouble. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, but he could definitely have, 3 blocks and like 5 rebounds in the first half, no problem.
oh yeah, for sure. And then another key game I wanted to touch on before we got out of here, right here. I know it was a sweat, you barely got over, but give me all the Luca, give me all the Gafford once we get him. It's the Spurs. They are the prop gold mine of this year. Every year there's one team, and it's the Spurs. Luca went absolutely nuclear against them in their last meeting. I think he definitely had a triple double. He had like 40 plus points, 10 assists, 12 rebounds, or something like that. There's always the fear of Kyrie getting hot in the first half, and I think this is a pretty large spread. 11. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, what's his assist at right now? I think he cleared his assists last game in the first
at
half,
half,
pretty much.
he hit 10 at half. That
He's
pick and
back at
roll, pick
home.
and roll with him and Gafford are so nasty.
Yeah, I mean, this right here, like, even though if you're worried about a blowout, like he could get this done in 3 quarters. I think easy. Being back at home and against the Spurs, fast pace, bleed assists, bleed everything, right? Like he could definitely get this done, unless he just gets completely hot from three, which the Spurs bleed threes too. So you can take his 3-point prop. I don't mind that either. I would take. I would just hedge your bets and do an alternate. I would do one with his assist, one with his 3-point made, and if you want, you can even just do his first half PRA. But I like all the Luca. The full game PRA kind of scares me, just due to the blowout potential, and he sits a large portion in the fourth to start the fourth. And if it's blowing out, he won't come back in. So But these other low lines, the assist is not low, but for him it is at home against the Spurs. But the 3-point prop and the assist, he could get that done in 3 quarters. And then obviously the first half PRA. How do you feel about that? And then Gafford definitely won his first half fantasy, right?
Yeah, for sure. Gafford should have a lot of block potential here, and we saw him super active against another active center in Bagley last game. Wimba is obviously the unicorn, so he can do all kinds of stuff, potential blocks, and what have you. Man, I love Luca. Triple double in both games he played against the Spurs. Yeah, don't even think about it. First half at home, it's always a solid play.
Yeah, I agree. That 26 will be 20 minimum 27.5 by tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, he bumped all the way to 28.5 before locks last game.
Well, then we should anticipate the same because it's pretty much the same uh,
Mhm.
matchup
Primo
and
matchup. Yeah.
primo matchup in terms of Spurs and Wizards. So jump on that now. Who knows what they do with the 3-point prop? They probably will leave that on there. Maybe they take it down. The assists will probably bump to 10. I know it opened at 9.5 against the Wizards, and they bumped it to 10 eventually. So I think the assists in the first half PRA will for sure bump. But love it. I will definitely take a stab at those, and then wait for Gafford. I think Gafford will probably drop in the morning. I think that's what happened last game, right? When against the Wizards.
Yeah, I think we got a fast one over on them last game. They were kind of anticipating Gafford not starting that last game, but now that we should see this as something moving forward, I think they're gonna maybe bump him up like one or something, or we'll see him obviously not at 13 fantasy. He'll probably be like 14.5 or 13.5, something like that.
Okay.
And Luca had 23 potentials last game.
Sheesh. And with this pace against the Spurs, I mean, the Wizards are a fast-paced team too. I mean, they're both top five in pace, so it should be an identical spot here. Um, and then I
I'm here for it.
guess the last thing would be the Clippers. There's no Kawhi. I think you could take a stab with Harden or maybe even Zubac, but Zubac he just hasn't looked himself. But yeah, without Kawhi is like the first half has just been dominating uses, especially in the first quarter. So I feel like you could take a stab at one of the Clippers' first half lines with Kawhi out. Um, Anything else? The Memphis Houston matchup, not really that interested in.
Yeah,
Alert,
that
alert.
total was so nasty.
LeBron is out tomorrow. I don't know. You guys think that's interesting?
Okay, LeBron's out tomorrow. I saw they ruled Beal out for tomorrow too.
Mm-hmm.
We wait. Do the Lakers play tomorrow?
Yeah, they play at the Jazz.
Okay. Oh, they pulled all the props down.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that was expected that like AD or LeBron would play tonight at home and then sit on the back to back in Utah. So get all the AR-15. Um, yeah, and then Washington Pelicans, two teams I never target for props. I only target against Washington, and I don't really like the Pelicans. So unless you got anything,
No, I'm good on that. Take some unders.
yeah. All right, feeling pretty good about this. I'm gonna load up on the Charlotte Atlanta game. Once we get more props for Atlanta, don't mind the Sadiq first half call, and then load up on Luca Gafford. How do you feel about Wemba? If his first half fantasies at 6.5?
Oh, well, he's been at 24 and 24 and a half. Obviously he went just insane this last game. So I'm really not sure how much they may or may not adjust it. It shouldn't be above 25-5. Personally, anything above 26, it's not really good value. On the road, you never know with Bob's.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, sounds good. Maybe we'll stream tomorrow night. I mean, there's what, 3 games on Thursday? And then the last stream for the All-Star break, for the week break. So
Yeah,
depending on how many props they give
possibly
us.
possibly tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day, so people
Oh
may or may not
yeah,
be
shoot,
outside.
I keep forgetting. Oh, they have one about 18.5 PRA. Okay, his rebounding has been really weird lately, though. So
Yeah, 2 prior games, 0 rebound, 0 RA going into half, and then last game he was like ridiculous line going into half. You
yeah,
never
I
know.
think it's like Sohan, man. I call him the Wemba killer. He like sometimes just goes hard in the glass and just takes away rebounds. So I don't know. Cool, man. Anything else?
No, I think that's gonna be it for right now. Make sure you guys check out the Discord. Doing a free trial through Patreon, 7-day free trial. Make sure you give a like, thumbs up, and subscribe down below. All that fun stuff so you don't miss out.
All right. Oh, we're getting more props, but they're gonna keep dropping throughout the night. But we'll post them in the Discord as we see them. But yeah, I like Buddy Heald, his new role in this team, and he's been really carrying him. So, all right, we'll catch you tomorrow. Alrighty.
All right, later, man. Y'all have a good night, fam.